Hey there, all you beautiful souls. I hope your day has been absolutely fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you back for yet another exciting episode of What If Naruto Was the Descendant of Scorpion. Don't forget to pay a visit to the author of this captivating fanfiction and show them some love. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Uzumaki Naruto sacrificed his life to protect a precious person, but instead of going to the afterlife, Naruto finds himself face to face with the remains of a soul that was locked away deep within his own soul. A soul filled with fury and vengeance of a family and clan that was taken from him. How will this chance meeting change Naruto, and will it be for better? If this what if is sparking your curiosity, drop a comment down below and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the plethora of other intriguing what ifs available on this very channel. Alright, let's not keep you waiting any longer, let's dive right into this thought-provoking video. Tanzaku Town. Team Uzumaki. Uzumaki Naruto. By the time the group reached Tanzaku Town, the sun was now setting, allowing the town to turn on the multicolored lights in the town, which caused the ground beneath them to seem like they were walking on a rainbow. Around them, the sounds of slot machines and cheering reached their ears, along with the smell of cigar smoke mixed in with the sweet smell of ramen and beef. Man, Tanzaku Town. Gambling central of the shinobi nations. We sure know how to pick them. Naruto turned to Teiwaya, who had a large grin on her face and sparkles in her eyes, as they gazed at the dozens of slot machines and lights around them. The gambling woman, Teiwaya-chan. Haku asked with a teasing tone. Teiwaya smirked and said, damn right. I'm not as big into gambling like the famed Densetsu no Kamo, the legendary sucker, though. Naruto glanced at her with a confused look at that title. Who would ever allow themselves to have such a poorly named title like that? Oh my Naruto-kun, what a perverted though, Kyubi said, which caused Naruto's face to heat up slightly. The nickname is poor. Of course it is the first thought anyone would think when that title is said. What kind of self-respecting person would allow that to be their title? Naruto replied defensively. Well, we may find out in the future, but be careful, something feels off in this town, Kyubi murmured. Can you pinpoint the source of this feeling? Naruto asked. No, which is what concerns me. Once you find a place to place the unconscious shinobi, we are going to train so you can reach your untapped revenant abilities, Kyubi told him. Naruto-kun. Naruto's eyes snapped towards Haku's concerned face. Are you okay? You were silent there for a while, Haku told him with a frown. Oh, I'm fine, Haku-chan. Just thinking, Naruto replied as he took her hand into his. That explains the smoke in the air, Teiwaya quipped, which made Haku giggle lightly and Naruto smirk in amusement. He didn't understand why he allowed Teiwaya to joke with him like this. He often tried to murder Johnny Cage and his daughter when they did it, but with Teiwaya, he not only allowed it, but he laughed at it. Perhaps it was due to his time as Naruto. While Hasashi Hanzo couldn't take a joke, Uzumaki Naruto could and was more easily amused. Ah well. Come on, let's find a hotel to drop these guys off, Naruto said as he pointed to his clones, which carried the three unconscious shinobi. After several minutes of walking through the city, the group finally found a hotel, and thankfully, the three was able to pay for a few nights stay for a very large hotel room that could sleep all of them within it. Once the three walked into the room, Naruto pointed to the door to his left and said to his clones, put them in there and let them rest. When they wake up, we will ask what the hell happened to them. Until then, let's relax. I'm taking a bloody shower, excuse me, Teiwaya said as she ran to the first bathroom and shut the door, but then opened it again and said, we need to go clothes shopping by the way, before shutting it again. Naruto and Haku waited a moment until they heard the water starting before Naruto instantly turned his body and kissed Haku hard, which she instantly returned, her arms wrapping around his neck as he pushed her against the wall. I miss this so much, Haku moaned against his lips. I miss this too, Naruto whispered before his lips claimed hers again, a small blush on his face, when he felt Haku's legs wrap around his hips, her kiss becoming more frantic and needy. It had been quite some time since the pair had a moment of peace, and now that they were in this hotel room, they were going to take every chance possible before the next possible saga they would face. Just then, the door opened beside them and the male they had saved previously poked his head and said whoa. Before he closed the door sharply, which caused the two to break apart. Haku groaned and rested her forehead against Naruto's and muttered, we finally get a moment alone and they wake up. How brutal. Naruto chuckled and packed her lips softly and murmured, they were going to eventually. But now is the time. Haku pouted as Naruto sat her down on her own 2 feet. I fucking hate that they did wake up now but... Naruto was interrupted when three heads poked out of the room to glance at them. Well hello children. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. This is my girlfriend, Momochi Haku. We, along with our third teammate, Teiwaya, saved your asses from those guards. Nice to see you are awake. The door fully opened and the blonde-haired girl then said, thanks for saving us, so the rumors were right. You are pretty handsome. Rumors? Naruto asked, ignoring the second part of her statement, despite the slight ego boost. Yeah, there have been stories of an Uzumaki Naruto that liberated waves spreading around the shinobi nations, while killing a known underworld boss like Gato, Fighting Han, a fierce fighter, and Mamachi Zabuza, demon of the hidden mist, the blonde Kunoichi replied as her comrades came into view behind her. She then looked to Haku and said, "And considering your last name, I can only assume that you're his family." "His daughter," Haku said proudly. "Cool, you're beautiful," the blonde said, which made Haku blink in surprise. Just then, the door opened up and Teiwaya peeked her head out and said, "Yo, can someone please grab the housekeepers? They forgot to stock sham." Teiwaya then stopped when she noticed the shinobi cross the door, specifically the red-haired Kunoichi, and said, "Holy shit. How lucky am I to see another cute gal so soon? Wanna join me in this bath so we can get to know each other more?" The Kunoichi blushed furiously and said, "You can't just come out here and ask someone, especially me, to join you." "So is it a no or?" Teiwaya questioned. "Damn right that's a no," the Kunoichi shouted, but the blush only deepened. "Ah damn," Teiwaya said with a teasing wink, which made the girl stammer briefly, before she turned to the blonde shinobi and said, "Let me finish my bath so we can get the introductions out of the way. I've been curious about those assholes that took you three down." With that, Teiwaya shut the door. The nerve of that girl, the Reddit said before she looked away, her blush still prominent. "I don't know, Carrie, you seem to like the compliment," the boy said cheekily. "I mean, she is just as attractive as you are. Same hair color too. I seem to remember you liking red." Carrie growled and said, "Get bent, Amoy," before she walked into the room and shut the door. Was it something I said, Samui?" Amoy asked his leader, his eyes showing amusement. Samui sighed and said, looked to the amused Naruto and Haku and said, "Well, there are our names. I'm Samui, the temporary leader of Team B since our sensei is somewhere. This is Amoy, and the other Kunoichi is Carrie." "Nice to meet you guys," Naruto responded with a chuckle. "Likewise," Samui said, her eyes switching from Naruto to Haku's, and said, "How cool, all three of you are very attractive. Add in my team's good looks and we can charm the world. Come to think of it, we are very attractive. Didn't we rank at #1 in Kunoichi magazine as the hottest team in Kumo?" Amoy asked Samui. "Kunoichi magazine?" Naruto asked as he looked to Haku, who shrugged. "Yeah. I think Yujito's team is like a #2 on that list," Samui replied with a grin on her face. "This is the cookiest group of shinobi I have ever seen," Haku whispered to Naruto, as the pair watched Samui and Amoy chat about their ranking in the magazine. "It's so bizarre," Naruto replied in a hushed tone. "Honestly, I've seen so much worse in my time on this plane," Kyubi said with a small chuckle. "Oh?" Naruto replied. "Let's just say, the old Jiraiya is going to send you into a loop when you two meet," Kyubi replied jokingly before she suddenly said, "Something is wrong in the air." Naruto opened his mouth to say something, but then he felt this unbelievable bout of energy seemingly all around him, which caused all of the shinobi in the room to pause and look around. "What the hell?" Teiwaya shouted out from within the bathroom. Carrie ran out of the room and exclaimed, "Do you guys feel that?" Teiwaya ran out as well, her hair still wet due to the water, and said, "Holy fuck, I can taste that." It was then Naruto's eyes slowly widened in horror as the realization set in. Village of Hisako. Team Guy. Hyuga Neji. I want a world where all of us can be under the Hyuga banner together without the asterisk next to our name. But in order to complete my dream, I cannot allow myself to look weak any longer to you or them, so get your head out of your ass and help me unite them together. Neji stared at his hands as Hinata's words played within his mind. It had been a few hours since the rest of the Uzumaki Naruto hunting squad left, leaving Team Guy behind, and admittedly, he was glad for this. He needed time to think on the many things that have happened. And for that, he had to start at the source. The Uzumaki Naruto. Everyone knew of the failure, the jockster, the dope in the orange, the wannabe shinobi. He and Naruto had shared a class, and he was a failure in every meaning of the word, but Naruto never gave up his dream, even when he tried to make him see reasoning. Then Hinata met him in her class. Hinata was the timid fool, the weakling Hyuga, the foolish elder princess of the Hyuga clan, and most importantly, the one most likely to have the caged bird seal when she came of age. It was subtle, but he noticed that Hinata had started to use Naruto as her reason to keep going and to get stronger, and as much as he tried to not see it, he could see improvements within their prized taijutsu style. But despite her subtle changings, her skills were still far weaker than his and Hanabi's by an embarrassing degree. But since then, Naruto was known as the hero of Wave, seemingly coming back from the dead to kill Gato, fight off the famed steam shinobi and Zabuza himself, and when they came to Hisako, it was shown that he helped liberate this village as well from Oto. And somehow, this made Hinata grow in power as well. She went from a weak-minded Kunoichi that obeyed an adult without hesitation to repeatedly talking down to their betters, and beating him without any hesitation while still holding back. But how? Determination cannot be an answer for such a vast difference in skill and power. There had to be something more to it. "Yo, Neji-kun." Neji's head snapped up to see Tenten enter the room with a smile on her face and a plate of food in her hands. The top beef ramen this village has to offer, Tenten said as she walked to Neji and handed it to him. Thank you, Neji told her softly. You didn't have to do this for me. Nonsense. You're my friend, yeah. Besides, Fusen said that we eat for free due to being friends with Naruto. It's pretty cool, Tenten said with a bright grin before Neji noticed her frown. You look so down, Neji. This is about your fight with Hinata, isn't it? Tenten asked. Fight? It was more like a curb stomp symphony, Neji responded softly. He knew he should have been bitter by her defeating him so easily, but he couldn't. He couldn't sum up the anger for it. He felt more defeated. As if all of rage had been beaten out of him. But not only by her skills. I could have killed you, Neji. If I had aimed just a little bit to the left, I could have separated your skull from your spine, decapitating you from the inside. But I couldn't, because deep inside of that arrogant heart is the old you, the Neji I saw as my older brother. It was her words that had defeated him, not just her skill. You need to let your hatred of me go. I need you to realize that I am not your enemy and I never have been. At the end of the day, I am just a lonely Hyuga princess, wanting her brother and sister back. There was so much raw emotion and truth in her voice when she spoke to him that it made his heart cry out. His heart, the thing he thought died when his father passed away. And somehow, Hinata had proved to him that it was still there, and that her words had wormed their way into it. But while her words of togetherness managed to get into his heart, her words about him had barged their way into his heart as well. I am sick of it. Sick of your demeaning words. Sick of your pompous air. It offends me that you continue to act high and mighty against someone just because of your status as a prodigy. I may be a princess, but I treat people by who they are. Tenten, I need to something, Neji said as he looked to his longtime friend and teammate. Without any holding back, am I really the terrible person Hinata-sama said about me? Tenten was silent for a moment, a frown gracing her beautiful face. Beautiful. Neji thought to himself. Where did that come from? I hate to say it, Neji, but she's right, Tenten said softly. You have this I'm better than you or around you that makes it hard to be around. I mean, for fuck's sake, when we first met at the academy, you said, and I quote, a commoner with that belongs to no clan, should not be allowed to wear the hideite. I won't lie, it truly hurt my feelings, and while Lee thinks the world of you, he was hurt by your words as well, and it hasn't been any easier since becoming your teammates. I see, Neji murmured softly, soaking in Tenten's words with a frown on his face. He did remember saying that to her, and he would never forget the sadness and anger that appeared in her eyes, and then Hinata's words repeated in his head. If I win, not only will you get your head out of your ass and start to become the kind boy you used to, but you will apologize to not only me, but to everyone you belittled because of your own pathetic attitude. After a moment of silence, Neji looked up to Tenten and murmured, I have truly been a monster of a teammate, huh? You have, Tenten replied. But I will say this as well. Despite us being hurt by your constant words of discouragement and abuse, it motivated Lee, and I get as strong as we are now to prove you and every single word you said wrong. Neji laughed softly and shut his eyes. Of course, they would use his words as motivation. But still, knowing that for years, he had been verbally abusing them bothered him on a level he never felt, especially now because it had actually hurt them, where when he said them before, they would laugh it off. I have been truly insufferable for so long. I've hurt you and Lee more times than I can count, all because of my own personal inadequacies about my place. I shouldn't have taken it out on you and him like that. Especially because you both have treated me kindly and with respect and even called me friend, something that I truly didn't and don't deserve, Neji told her as he kept his hands on the food bowl she had given him. Neji then looked up to her and said, I have done wrong by you both, and I promise, for every day that I breathe, I will forever atone for all I've said and done, and hope that one day, I can truly earn your friendship and trust the right way. Neji-kun, Tenten whispered softly. Neji then turned as best as he could, and gave Tenten a bow and murmured, I am sorry for all that I have done. I forgive you, Tenten murmured softly. Neji's head whipped up to look at her in shock. What? I forgive you, Tenten repeated, her voice still soft. But I don't deserve it, I've done nothing to earn it, Neji told her with confusion in his voice. For the first time that we've known each other, you've never apologized for all the things you said. This is the first time you have apologized, and the best part is that it came from your heart, Tenten told him with a smile on her face. That's what counts for me in the end. Neji stared at her for a moment before a small smile graced his face, which Tenten returned with a smile as well. Thank you, Neji said. I will make good use of this second chance you've given me. The two smiled at each other once more before Tenten rose up from the bed and said, I should get going. Kai-sensei is training me out to use tonfas today, so I'm totally stoked. You eat up and heal up. I shall, Neji said with a nod. He then watched as Tenten walked towards the door before she turned around to face him with another smile and said, get better soon, before she walked out of the room, leaving a smiling Neji behind. But if Neji had been watching, he would notice that behind him, there was an ethereal figure behind him which sat in the lotus position, his blindfold flowing to an otherworldly wind, a smile of approval on his bearded face. But then, the figure's eyebrows shot up as he looked to the left, just as Neji felt an immense ton of malicious pressure around him. What the hell is that? Neji asked himself. Village of Hisako. Jail cell. Tsuchi-kin. Kin's glowing yellow eyes snapped open in alarm as she stood up from her bed and walked to the window, the icy hand of fear tightening around her heart. Even here? She asked in terror. She had felt this before. When she betrayed Adenia and sold out the royal family and her bitter rival, Jade. When she was allowed on his court. And before he died. But despite that, she never wanted to feel this pressure ever again. She had to get out. She had to get away. And anyone that got in her way will die long before he comes to kill them all. Shinobi Nations. UN Hunting Squad. Hatake Kakashi. So where are we heading next? Kurenai asked him curiously. Tanzaku town is the closest village near Hisako, so we shall be going there next, Kakashi replied as he looked to Kurenai and asked, I'm surprised you're up here, and not next to Asuma. Asuma and I aren't on speaking terms right now, Kurenai said with an icy tone in her voice. I think I'll stay clear of that minefield, Kakashi thought to himself as he continued to look at the map in his hands. It's strange. He's so chill normally, but since he's been on the mission, he's been very high-strung, Anko commented as she walked on the left of Kakashi with her hands behind her head. Then again, getting his ass re-aimed by Hinata on a near-daily basis can cause that. Who knew she had it in her? Ever since we left Wave, it's like she's changed and not just physically. It's mentally as well, Kurenai noted with the cross of her arms. She seems far more outgoing with more confidence, bordering on arrogant. Not to mention. She has been exerting her appeal, Anko said cheekily as she leaned forward to look at Kurenai. That poor Yamanaka girl is a blushing mess back there. Kakashi looked back and sure enough, Hinata walked with a confident step, while Ino looked at her with a huge blush on her face. Interesting, Kakashi paused as a wave of malicious pressure slammed into the group, which caused him and the other shinobi to stop immediately. What the hell? Anko exclaimed. What is this? Kurenai asked, her body shaking slightly. I haven't felt this before, not even Orochimaru at worst can pump this out, Anko said with a slight stammer. Kakashi was going to say something, but he caught Hinata fall to her knees, a horrified look on her face. No, it can't be, Hinata said, her body shaking, her breath coming in short and shallow. Yo Hinata, is everything alright? Sakura asked as she knelt beside the down Hinata. No, it can't be, Kakashi heard Hinata whimper out. What the hell is going on? We need to move, he will kill us all, we need to move, Hinata repeated shakily. Kakashi narrowed his eyes as he watched his Kurenai grab Hinata with a murmur of, we need to go honey, before she looked to Kakashi. Kakashi nodded his head and said, we need to get to that Tanzaku yesterday. Move out. Tanzaku town. Team Uzumaki. Uzumaki Naruto. It can't be, Naruto thought as he took a step backwards in silent terror. He knew this pressure. He had experienced it in the second Mortal Kombat tournament. It just can't be possible, Naruto thought to himself. Oh my. That is quite a serious situation. I've seen your memories, he is quite ruthless, but how could he be here of all places? Kyuubi asked. I don't know, but holy this is truly dire, Naruto thought to himself with dread. How could he have missed this? Suddenly, a memory played in his head. We are servants of a glorious god known as the Dragon Prince, and he requires your souls to bring him back to our world, one of the robed shinobi said with a flourish of his hands. Teiwaya, wake up that last cultist, Naruto said, his voice eerily calm, not betraying the fear that was hammering into his heart. Why? Teiwaya asked. Because I have a feeling I know who the Dragon Prince is, and if I am right, we are in grave danger, more so than your former teammates, way more than Zabuza and Han, Naruto replied, but then he noticed Teiwaya wasn't moving, Naruto shouted now. Teiwaya jumped before she nodded and ran off to the room to get the cultist. What's on your mind, Naruto-kun? Haku asked him, but Naruto remained silent. The Dragon Prince. At the time, Naruto didn't think about that name before when he and Teiwaya killed 2 of the 3 cultists, but now as he thought about it, he realized that he should have paid attention. Because somewhere in this town, a very evil force was within it, something that took an elder god to defeat, something that they could not fight alone, for that nickname was one of the many nicknames of the former ruler of Outworld. Shao Kahn the Conqueror. Unknown location. Uchiha Itachi. Awaken, awaken, awaken conqueror. Show us the path of the way. Let those who have waged war be broken and united under your power. Awaken, awaken. Itachi's eyes opened up slowly as the familiar chanting reached his ears. How long had he been here? Trapped in the cell, waiting for his turn for death. Itachi tugged at the chains attached to his wrists and narrowed his eyes as he began to think on how he had been caught up in this situation. Flashback. Tanzaku town. Uchiha Itachi. Netachi, we better find that bastard soon. Samehada is looking for something to munch on, Kasame said with a yawn as he stretched his limbs. Have patience, Kasame. We saw him enter this place. It wouldn't be long now, Itachi admonished calmly, but beneath that calm was an undercurrent of concern. The pair had been fighting and chasing the Jinchuriki of the Yambi for days, and they now had him cornered in Tanzaku town. But the minute they stepped into the village, something was amiss with Itachi. The last time he had stepped into this town, he could recall the happiness and excitement of those frivolously spending their money away, but now, they all looked drained, lifeless, as if he was looking at living husks instead of human beings. There was also some sort of pull that he felt coming from his body that was sapping away at his own energy. "Kasame, do you feel that?" Itachi asked after a moment of silence. "That exhausting feeling?" "Yeah, both Samehada and I felt it the moment we walked in this place," Kasame replied. Itachi narrowed his eyes and thought, this is going to wear down my sight a spell, but I need to see, before he activated his Mingekyo Sharingan, and it was then he noticed it. There was chakra as well as some green energy flowing from everyone towards the castle in the middle of the city. It looked as if there was an ethereal green tornado around the castle. He then looked down at his body and noticed both chakra and that green energy flowing from his body as well. What in the world is this? Itachi thought to himself before he noticed a large mass of chakra coming from behind him. As he and Kasame turned around, they found themselves facing a glowing green-eyed Rashi, the one they were hunting, and several masked shinobi, and then it all went black for the pair. When Itachi came to, he was in a dark cell, and his chakra was completely drained with Kasame nowhere in sight, with only a green light that came from the pillar of energy across from him lighting the cell. "You're finally awake," a voice said. Itachi looked up to see Rashi staring down at him, his eyes glowing a lime green. "You were right on time to see our lord take a new sacrifice." Sacrifice? Itachi thought to himself before a sense of dread began to form in his stomach. "Where is he?" Itachi asked with a steel edge to his voice. Rashi smirked and moved his head up, and when Itachi looked up, he saw a cell dangling above the pillar of light, but it was then Itachi realized. That wasn't light. That was green fire. "Lower the cell," Rashi exclaimed. The cell began to lower into the flame, and as the cell turned, he managed to catch Kasame's trying effortlessly to cleave off the cell with Samehada, before he began to scream in agony, as the flames swallowed up the cell. "Kasame!" Itachi screamed. Rashi laughed softly and said, "With how strong a former swordsman of the mist is, his majesty will be reborn in no time." Itachi watched in horror as the cell with his friend continued to struggle through the brief flickers through the flame until his body, as well as his weapon, evaporated into nothing. Kasame. Then flashback. Unknown location. Uchiha Itachi. He had to get out, he had to do something before he wound up next, but what? What in the world could he do? He couldn't even activate the Sharingan, let alone the Mingekyo Sharingan. All he could do was wait for his death to come. But then he heard it. The sound of a man speaking. The voice was dark and menacing, and something about it made Itachi feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. Fear. "There's a presence in this village of 6 shinobi, find them and bring them to me, my followers. With their blood and souls, I shall finally be free to rule this realm," the voice commanded. "Yes, Lord Khan," several men shouted before they ran off. This was the time. He had to escape. Tanzaku town. Team Kumo Uzumaki. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the cultist before him, who was currently tied down in a chair with his mask removed, revealing a generic black-haired middle-aged male. "Tell me what you know," Naruto said, his eyes glowing with hellfire. The man looked up at him and grinned in response. "And why should I reveal anything to you? You are not the glorious leader that will unite our realms. You are merely fodder for his majesty." "The fuck is he talking about?" Teiwaya said with a blank tone in her voice. Naruto nodded his head and without warning, he punched the man in the face hard, sending the chair down and the body down. "Holy shit!" Amoy shouted in surprise. "Naruto-kun!" Haku exclaimed. Naruto reached down and pulled the man back upright and yelled, "Talk." I will not betray my glorious leader," the man said, blood falling down the corner of his mouth. Naruto narrowed his eyes and landed another solid punch to the man's face, sending him down to the ground again. "Is this really necessary?" Carrie asked. "Did you feel that power?" Samui questioned with a quirked brow. Carrie nodded. "Whatever was putting that much out needs to be stopped." "I don't care how," Samui replied. "Talk," Naruto shouted as he raised his right hand, his fist emblazoned with hellfire. "Or I will send you to hell screaming." "Alright," the man wailed, his face distorted due to the various wounds that Naruto had caused. "Alright, I'll talk." Naruto dismissed the flame around his hand and said, "Tell me all that you know." "Several years ago, at the height of the Third Shinobi War, my team and I were stationed here. One day, beneath the city, we discovered ruins, and in the middle was a withered, severely wounded man, wrapped with glowing white and gold chains around him. On top of him was a scroll that named him, the Conqueror of Realms. At first, we decided to leave it be, but then a voice of infinite power shot into our minds, ordering us to find the strongest of us and deliver their blood and power to him. He promised us that he would end the war and unite us all under a banner of peace and prosperity for all." "Then you listened to the voice," Naruto said, alarmed. The man looked to Naruto and said, "You look like a young child. You didn't know how fearsome the war was, how many lives were taken, none of you know." We all wanted someone to unite the nations under one banner, whether by peace or by force, and this chained-up warrior was the only way, and after 10 long years and many dead shinobi, our glorious leader is nearing his full power, and once he awakens, he will lead us to a new age. The group saw a look of crazed madness in the man's eyes, but Naruto sneered at it. Is the body still there? It is, but you'll never get close enough to take him out. It is heavily guarded by our men who are willing to die for our savior. If anything, it'll speed up his awakening. You have no chance of winning. The man then smirked, and it was then Naruto noticed a flicker of lime green energy in his eyes. But you bunch won't have to worry about them because none of you won't be leaving this room alive. Lime green energy began to pour out from the man's eyes. Naruto's eyes whitened before he reached forward, grabbed a chair and launched the man out of the window, just as the man exploded into a bright green soul bomb, which lit up the sky briefly before fading away. Holy fuck, Teiwa murmured. Out of everything that happened, I didn't expect him blowing himself up to be one of them. We need to move, and we need to move now, Naruto announced to the team, but as he walked towards his blade, another burst of magical energy shot through the city in the form of a green wave. The wave passed through the hotel room, going from a normal-looking hotel room to a pale green, with small green particles floating around the room. The magic is getting stronger, Naruto said as he grabbed the hilt of his blade. We need to find these ruins and stop Shao Kahn from waking up. Otherwise we are all doomed. You know a lot about this Shao Kahn character, Samui said with a cross of her arms. It's not very cool to hide things from us. Naruto stared at the blade for a moment before he turned his head and said, I've encountered him before. A long time ago. A long time ago? Teiwa asked. You're like what, a year younger than me? How is that possible? Naruto let out a deep breath and said, You're right. I'm a year younger than you physically, but I've lived much longer than you. Naruto turned around to face the group and said, You know me as Uzumaki Naruto, but before I was him, I was known as Hisashi Hanzo, the revenant known as Scorpion. I'm sorry, what? Aomoi asked. Haku-chan, the day on the bridge when I died, my soul was splintered into 2 parts. My current life and my past one. My past life, Naruto explained. It's where these powers came from. My past life. My past identity. Haku stayed silent for a moment, her eyes wide with shock. In my past life, I was the leader of the Shirai Ryu, a very powerful shinobi clan. I was killed by a sorcerer named Quan Kai, who framed my rival Sub-Zero and his clan, the Lin Kuei. Quan Kai then used my rage and made me into Scorpion, the Hellfire Spectre. Naruto turned around as he placed the blade on his back and said, During my time as his bodyguard, I met with Shao Kahn the Conqueror. He was known to combine many realms under his rule and outworld to the rules of Mortal Kombat. He is a strong warrior with magical abilities that would make even the strongest shinobi in this world weep. It took a god to defeat him, and even, he nearly lost. Okay, I feel like I've stepped into some alternate reality, Aomoi said. For a minute, let's say we believe you. Your past life and current life are combined into one, and it made you a badass that wields hellfire. If what you say is true, the threat we are going against took a fucking god to defeat him. And he nearly lost. Yes, Naruto replied. What I say is the truth, he is extremely powerful and shows no mercy to anyone in his path. He has conquered dozens of realms in his conquest to rule over them all. I've seen him kill extremely powerful warriors and create powerful warriors. If he is not stopped, this world. All you know and love is gone. Naruto snapped his fingers and added, just like that. This is fucking nuts, Teiwa said as she shook her head. Can we stop him? If a god could barely defeat him, what chance do we have? Samui questioned as he crossed. If we can kill him before he awakens, we can stop him. If he does awaken, well, be prepared for a fight that none of us can walk out away from, Naruto replied solemnly. But I will not force any of you to do this. I can do this alone if I need it. I do not wish for any of you to die because of me. This is serious. In the entire time I've known Naruto-kun, he has never been this nervous, Haku whispered to Teiwa softly. Yeah, he's extremely fucking serious about this, but fuck, this explains his otherworldly abilities, Teiwa replied in a hushed tone. Well, then let's get to it, Samui said suddenly, surprising everyone in the room. Whoa, Samui, you serious? Both Carrie and Aomoi asked. Like a heart attack, Samui replied. I sense no lies coming from him and you know. Bullshit detector runs in my family. He's telling the truth. And with that said, this guy nearly killed a god. If we do not stop him while he can be stopped, we can kiss our world goodbye, and I'm fond of our world. Well, when you put it like that, I'm in, Carrie said. Aomoi stayed silent for a moment before he shrugged and said, what the hell. I'm game. You know full damn well I'm with you, Teiwa said with a grin. Let's go save the world. Haku smiled softly and said, Hanzo or Naruto, it matters not to me. You are the shinobi I fell in love with. The one that saved me. I will not allow you to fight this threat alone. We fight together, we fall together. Naruto gave them a warm smile, the fear he held in his heart slowly ebbing away. Thank you, all of you. But should we live, I want to know the full fucking story of who you are, both lives, Teiwa said with a cross of her arms. Ditto, the others said. Deal, now come on, let's. Naruto was interrupted when they all felt a large source of chakra coming from around them. What the hell? Teiwaya murmured. Seconds later the building began to rumble violently while the glass windows began to crack. Moments later, Kyuubi shouted, something powerful is heading your way. Get out of the building. They out of the build, but it was too late. Naruto was quickly interrupted as a large dark green figure exploded from the wall in front of them and slammed into Naruto's form, sending him through the wall against the figure. Naruto. The group shouted before the room began to swarm with dragon cultists, along with 3 dark green see-through figures with yellow veins spreading across their bodies. One of them in the shape of a male centaur, the second being in the shape of a woman with 4 arms, and the last being the shape of male with an iron club on attached from the right elbow down and teal-colored mask on his face. Tanzaku Town. UN Hunting Squad. Man Kakashi, this place feels so fucking eerie right now, Anko whispered to the silver-haired shinobi softly. No kidding, everyone looks dead here, Kakashi replied with narrowed eyes. The squad had just entered Tanzaku Town and was instantly on edge when they noticed that the town looked near death. At first, the town looked lively, but anyone proficient in genjutsu could easily see the truth, and after dispelling the illusion, the truth came to light. I'm getting a bad feeling about this, Asuma muttered. Azuma, let's find Naruto and get the hell out of here, Kakashi commanded, but seconds later, Ino's eyes widened. There's something coming, Ino said as she took a step back. The group then watched as a green wave shot past them, causing the dark blue sky to change into a dark green, lime green particles floating in the air around them, and all of the citizens of the town fading away into dust. It was then the group saw the large green tornado flowing around the castle in the middle of town, medium-sized orbs flying towards it. What the hell? Kurenai asked. A Sonato, Hinata answered with narrowed eyes. It is a tool that Shao Kahn uses to take the souls of all of in this world, however, it's not strong enough to reach that point yet, so it's only taking the souls of those in this town. But if we don't stop though, it will take every soul this world has, and then some. How do you know what this is? Anko questioned. There are a lot of things that I know, Hinata responded with narrowed eyes. We need to move. We need to stop this senseless slaughter. Holy shit. Ino suddenly exclaimed. There are a shitload of chakra sources on the west side of town, as well as 4 powerful entities. There is one large source of chakra coming from the castle, Ino said. I may be wrong however. There is so much power flowing from the castle, it's dampening my sensory skills to the max, it's hella annoying. Kakashi nodded to Ino and said, thank you. We need to find Naruto and stop whatever the hell is going on in this city at all costs. To the west side we go then, Asuma said before the group dashed off. Tanzaku Town. Team Kumo Uzumaki. Sound art. Pierce through. Teiwaya shouted as a cultist that had his kunai lunging towards her. The cultist's head whipped back as the image of a fairly large needle piercing through his head appeared briefly before fading away. Teiwaya twisted her body and blocked a kunai with one of her own, and played a quick tune before she shouted sound art. Hard impact. The image of a purple fist slammed into the gut of the cultist, which sent him flying backwards into Haku, who twisted her body, grabbed the previously flying cultist, and tossed him at 3 others, then were about to pounce on Kari, who was battling another cultist. Haku turned around and blocked a kunai strike with her senbon, and pushed it away before stabbing the female cultist in the chest twice, before lodging the senbon in her neck, sending the woman to the ground. Haku ducked a swing from another cultist and punched the man in the stomach, before she rose up and delivered a sharp elbow strike the man's chin, which sent him up into the air before falling onto his back, but when he fell, she saw several cultists running towards her. Haku scowled beneath her mask and formed several seals before she shouted, Ice Style. Ice Dragon Jutsu. But nothing happened. Haku blinked in surprise and formed the hand seals and shouted Ice Style. Ice Dragon Jutsu. But again, nothing happened. Without warning, Teiwaya appeared before Haku with a flicker due to her sound art. Flicker and shouted sound art. Force wave. The group of cultists flew backwards through a window from the attack. Teiwaya swiftly turned around and asked Haku, what the hell was that? I don't know. I tried to do my jutsu, but nothing came out, Haku said with a calm tone, but Teiwaya could hear the panic within it. Great, another thing, Teiwaya said with a frown on her face before she turned around and said, well, stick with my ice girl, I'll back you up with my skills. Haku nodded in thanks before the 2 lunged towards the remaining cultist, but without warning, the being with the iron club attached to his arm ran towards the pair and swung the club towards Haku. Seeing this, Teiwaya pushed Haku out of the way, barely able to shout sound art. Rebound. Before the club slammed into the orb of chakra, but to her shock, a bright lime green colored flame exploded to life against the orb, and soon, she found both herself and Haku, rebounding away from the chakra orb and out of the window, with Teiwaya shouting fuck, while Haku screamed. Haku. Teiwaya. Kari yelled as she pushed the cultist away with her blade and sliced at his neck. They'll be okay. Samui replied as she stabbed the final cultist in her head. The club-wielding being motioned for the centaur to attack the Kumo shinobi, before he and the 4-armed female being leapt out of the window after the 2 kunoichi. Seeing this, Omoi shouted, "We need to focus on us right now because we have trouble." Just as the centaur charged forward towards the trio. Tanzaku Town. The Uzumaki Naruto. With a crash through the wall, Naruto rolled against the ground as the figure stopped its advancement. Naruto rolled to his feet and narrowed his eyes at the figure. The figure was a large, muscular, dark green see-through shaped being with yellow veins, stretching the entirety of his body with 4 massive arms. Naruto knew this was a Shokin, but from the feline-like feet and the glowing fangs and claws, his figure must have been replicated from Kintaro. "Do not falter in this battle, for I have a horrible feeling this is only the start of our troubles," Kyuubi said as Naruto held out the Kubikiri Hacho, particles of hellfire floating from him. "Do not worry your beautiful head about me, Kyuubi, for it will be a cold day in hell when this large cat kills me," Naruto responded with narrowed eyes before he dashed forward with a shout. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.